Hello and welcome to my channel. If you are returning, then thank you so much for sticking around. But if you've clicked on today's video because of the title, then congratulations. I presume you've clicked on it because you've just got engaged and you're now entering the world of planning a wedding. And quite frankly, I have no idea where to start. So again, congratulations. It's lovely to have you here. And if you are newly engaged and are interested in anything to do with weddings, I have done a series on this. So please check out my other videos. I've done decorations, ideas, this planning video, skincare, etc. I can go on and on. So make sure you check those out. With all that done and said, as you can see from the title, this is going to be my 5 steps to planning a wedding. I've really tried to condense everything down into planning a wedding into 5 steps to hopefully make it as easy and straightforward. If you are hoping to plan the wedding by yourself, then I really hope this helps. Before we get into the tips, I just wanted to say this is all from my own experience, my own knowledge and my own research. I planned our wedding in 6 months and it was during COVID, so it was definitely a very challenging time. So your experiences could be different, but as I say, planning a wedding generally is the same, whether it's during COVID, whether it's outside of COVID, whether you're having 200 guests or whether you're having 20 guests. The general gist of it is along the same lines. So I really do hope this helps in some way and you can take some tips and tricks from it. So let's get straight on into the video. Okay, so step number 1. What now? You may have asked yourself this question as soon as you got engaged. What do you do? Who do you tell? Who do you speak to? And what is the very first thing you need to do? So before you start looking at any venues, you need to put your guest list together. The first thing the venue will ask you is, how many people do you want at your wedding? I also found that some venues had minimum guest numbers. So we had a rough idea of where we would have liked to have got married, but they had a minimum guest list of 150 people, which is a huge wedding to us anyway. So we knew that we couldn't get married there because we didn't have 150 people coming to our wedding. So put that guest list together. Make sure you are tough. There's loads of things out there in terms of if you've, there's like a whole chart, whether you've spoke to them in 6 months, whether they're a distant relative, whether they can get there. There are loads and loads of things out there on how you can select your guest list. It may be really obvious, you may need help and you may need to whittle that down, but put that guest list together so you know your numbers. Also with what now is, what's your budget? How much are you wanting to spend and how much can you reasonably save within the time frame of you wanting to get married? So as I say, we got married within 6 months of getting engaged. We knew we didn't want a big wedding, so we knew that it wouldn't cost loads, as much as weddings are expensive regardless. So we knew what our budget was and we knew how much money we could get saved by the date of the wedding and who would need paying at what time. So we could say, okay, we want to get married in 6 months, we can get X amount put together, so that is our budget. Once we knew what budget we were planning to, that then helps you look onto venues, dresses, makeup, everything like that. Obviously it all comes back to how much money you have. Once you know your budget, you can then obviously go out and start looking at suppliers. So you can start looking at what venues are in your price range, whether you're going to have real flowers, your dress, your rings, everything else like that. Obviously it's all going back to how much money you've got. So write it down, allocate your budget and stick to it. Obviously if you know you're getting married in say in 2 years and you'll have so much money saved up by then, you can't just make extra money out of nowhere. So make sure you stick to your budget. Allocate it on how much you want. You may want a more expensive dress and cheaper rings. You may want to go to just a registry office and go all out on your dress and decorations. So it's your wedding. Do what you want with your money, but make sure you stick to the budgets that you set. And start thinking of your bridal and groom party. So I think the majority of people already know who they would want as bridesmaids, who they want as groomsmen. It's pretty obvious who's that close to you and who you couldn't do the date without with them by your side. So normally this is quite a quick and easy one, but again, you may want to think about who's available, who's got more time to help you plan. There's a lot of reasons that again could go into it, or it could be completely obvious and you already know. But from there you can select your bridal and groom party, so you know who to ask, how to ask, who needs suits, who needs dresses, and etc. One thing I would definitely recommend is either starting a spreadsheet, or you can buy dedicated wedding planning books. And this was a massive help for me. So I kindly got gifted a wedding book, and it takes you through a massive tick list of from the day you get engaged up until the day of your wedding. So who you need to speak to, what you need to tick off, what needs sorting, what decorations need doing. It gives you a whole bit of a memorabilia thing in there, so you can put pictures, you can put your invites, you can put little snippets of things in there. So I absolutely love the book. It really helped me plan. It is my first and hopefully only wedding that I need to plan, so it's really nice to have it all in one place. One, help me plan the day, and secondly, I can look back on it in years to come and see all the ideas and thoughts that I had towards my wedding. I also am a massive lover of spreadsheets, so I've put my own spreadsheet together of what we needed to buy, suppliers that we had, all their contact details and the costs, and when deposits need paying and when the balance needs paying, and I had a whole spreadsheet set out of how much I'm spending on what, so I can keep track of it, and then also what else needs sorting. So there were a few things that needed sorting closer to the day, and there were a few things that I could get done, i.e. the venue that was booked the very first thing, which was done. And finally, Rome wasn't built in a day, so don't think, oh, I'm newly engaged, I need to get everything sorted right now. Start your Pinterest board, start thinking about what time of year you want to get married in, what colours you want, what themes. Take this time to be excited, because as you get into the depth of planning, especially during a global pandemic, it is stressful, it is hard, things change, things worry you start stressing about things, and the date comes round so quick. So take this time, be in your little engagement bubble and just get excited. Just start looking at dresses and everything that excites you and things that you are interested about, and start putting a Pinterest board together so you can start and pull together the themes, time of year, what venue you're at and what theme you want to go down. But yeah. Okay, moving on to step 2 is the venue. So this has its own dedicated step. It is a huge part of planning a wedding. It's where your wedding is going to be. So a lot of thought needs to go into it, because you're going to spend your whole entire day there. So venue is the next one. You need to think of the numbers that you're going to have there. As I previously mentioned, some places have maximum guest numbers, some places have minimum guest numbers. So that is something that you need to look into. The location. Are you having people travel across the country, across the globe? Where are people coming from? Is there accommodation at the location, and is it easily accessed for all your guests to come to? What style is the venue? So for us, we had a barn wedding. We really liked the rusticy, farmhouse, woodlandy type vibe, so we went for a converted barn. Again, you know, if you want, the venue has its own style and its own character, and you will be drawn to what your interests are. So again, that may be an easy one for you to choose, but think about the style of the venue and how you're going to bring your decorations into it. And then another thing with the venue is what time of year. So if you are having a winter wedding and you go and view it in the summer, and there's loads of flowers that look gorgeous and they're all blossomed and it's beautiful, and you love the colours and the whole natural vibe to it, you've got to think it may look beautiful then, but in the winter all those flowers won't be there, there's going to be no leaves on the trees. So you're best going to look at your venue around the time that you're going to get married there, so you can see what kind of vibe is going to be there on the day of your wedding. When going to view a venue, make sure you have your questions ready prior. Again, a lover of spreadsheets, they probably hated me turning up there, but I had all of my questions set out of things that I wanted to know about the venue. So whether we could stay there the night before, if they've got rooms for us to get ready in, what are their rules, how strict are they on things. So there was a lot of questions, again, especially planning it during COVID, there was a lot of questions that I wanted to ask and needed to clarify. So going there ahead of time with my questions prepared definitely help, because they fill you with so much information. You might be a bit overwhelmed by how lovely the place is or how excited you are, so you want to make sure that you are asking those questions that you need to know. There are loads of things on the internet on what questions to ask your venue, so I'd definitely go out there and check and have a look and jot some ideas down before you go looking. Once you've viewed your venue, I would recommend viewing a couple of venues, because wedding venues are gorgeous. Just as a whole, they are lovely places. So you don't want to go view one and think that is your dream one 100%, you think it's amazing, because you've got nothing to compare it to. So I would definitely recommend going to a few venues and making a list of your make and break. So for us, we had a list of things that we would love but not necessarily got to have, like we would compromise without them. But then there was things on there that we definitely 100,000% would not go with a venue if they did not have certain criteria. But also go with your gut. If you have viewed the first venue and absolutely fell in love with it, and then you viewed a couple of others, if you're still loving that first venue, then 100% go with it. You know, once you've turned up there and once you've seen things and once you've compared them and you've gone through them and you know what your makes and breaks are, then 100% just go with your gut. If you love it, you can see yourself getting married there and you think it's perfect for you, then get booking that date. So then moving on to booking the date, get that date booked in with the venue. Now, the venue will pencil you in to start with as a preliminary date. You will obviously have to get in contact, if you are getting married at a licensed venue, you'll have to get in contact with registrars and make sure that they're available, and also the rest of your suppliers. So if you're having photographers, makeup artists, hairstylists, everyone that you want there on that day all needs to be available on that date. So the main thing is the venue. Get booked in with the venue and then contact the rest of your suppliers and see if they're all available on that date so that you can secure your booking. Okay, so step number 3, think about your themes and your styles. So now that you've booked your venue, you know where your wedding's going to be. The venue will dictate a lot of your themes and styles. It will dictate the colours that you're going to go with, the decorations that you're going to have, the time of year that it is, any flowers that are out blooming. So the venue will hopefully help or persuade you on a lot of your ideas around decorations and the themes and colours that you want at your wedding. You then need to think about the themes and the styles that you want bringing into your photography. So any photographs that you want, different photographers have different styles. So you can have more traditional, you can have more like raw and off the cuff type photos. So I did a lot of research and I spoke to a lot of different photographers about the type of photos that we wanted, and definitely have a look and research and just speak to a lot of photographers in terms of what their natural style is and what type of photos they like taking, because if it's not their natural style then they won't fully capture what you're after. So definitely do your research into the themes of photography that you like before booking your photographer. Then moving on to your hair, makeup and your dress and other things to do with yourself. So hair and makeup, again, I just got in contact with a couple of hair and makeup people, had a couple of trials and chose who I got on with most, who I felt most comfortable around. They're going to be there on my wedding day. If I feel uncomfortable telling them that a hair looks out of place or I want something changing slightly, then I don't want them there on my wedding day. I'm going to be stressed enough on the morning. I want someone I can comfortably turn around to and say, do you mind just pinning this back, or do you mind just changing that little bit? So definitely who you feel comfortable around, and again also their talent. So are they doing it in a way that you like? Are they listening to your style and how you want it? I don't like wearing a lot of foundation or heavy face makeup. So if they're going to stop plastering things on me because that's how they do it, and they're not going to listen to what I want and what my needs are, then carry on looking, because there is someone out there that is suited for you and that will be perfect to be there and do your hair and makeup on the wedding day. Onto the dress, I had 100% since I was probably about 6. I knew what dress I wanted for my wedding day and I was so set on it. I probably got about 50% of the way through planning my wedding dress. I was getting it made from scratch. I was going to buy the material. I was going to get a seamstress to make it. 100% knew the style and what I wanted. My dad, and I hate saying this because it just gives him a bigger head, but my dad persuaded me to go and try on wedding dresses, and I ended up going for a completely different dress than I had in my head. I tried on a few dresses of the ones that I wanted and just didn't gel with it. So I ended up going for a completely different dress. So when choosing your dress, as much as you think that you have dreamt of this since a child and you know exactly what dress you want, it's not always the case when it's on you. So make sure you go wedding dress shopping, and if it is possible, then take your bridesmaids, take your bridal party, take your mom, your mother-in-law, whoever you want to take with you to get different opinions. Again, I was unable to really do this because of the COVID situation, but I'm definitely glad that I went to try on wedding dresses. And then finally is your save the dates and your invite. So once you've got the theme of your wedding, and I think a lot of your venue and your photographer and your dress and etc. will really start and pull together in terms of what you want your invites to look like. Again, this is going to be the first thing that people are going to see. Your save the dates are going to be the first little introduction into your wedding. So you really want to pull that whole theme together and start and really marry things now. But by this point, again, I made mine. I did a lot of the wedding decorations and everything myself. So I had my own save the dates and invites designed and printed for me, and I had a lot to say on what they look like, so I would definitely recommend looking and really pulling that through with the theme of your wedding. And finally, inject your own personality. If the venue is one way and the venue are, you know, giving you all these examples and telling you what suppliers to go for decorations and none of it's your style, stick true to who you are. If you want a really modern lavish venue but then you want all of your decorations to be woodlandy and farmhousey and people can't see how that's going to pull together or they don't agree with it, but it's what you want, stick to your guns 100%. Just inject your personality and it will show on the day that it is you that's made the decisions, and at the end of the day you're the one that needs to be happy with it, so stick to it. And also keep scrolling through that Pinterest board. So there are so many ideas and examples out there on Pinterest. So throughout the whole of your wedding process when pulling the themes together, and even little tips and advice, it's all over on Pinterest. So I'm bigging up Pinterest here. It really helped me through my wedding. You can save the pictures and really start to get a mood board together so you can see how the whole wedding's going to tie in with colours, themes, invites, dress, and really pull the whole picture of your wedding together. Moving on to step 4. So I've grouped together the ceremony and the reception. So these are essentially 2 separate parts of your day. So the ceremony is the legal part of your wedding where you have to sign all of your marriage certificates, you have to have so many witnesses in place, and that is the legal part of actually getting married. Now the reception is the fun part. This is where you can celebrate you are married, have everyone there that you love and is close to you, and essentially just have a big party. So step 4 is planning these 2 areas. So for the ceremony, especially with ours, we had our ceremony at a licensed venue, so we didn't have a religious ceremony at a church. So the registry office definitely guided us around what is allowed at a wedding. There was probably like a 20-page form that we had to fill in terms of what readings we wanted, what music we wanted there, what vows we wanted to say, if there was going to be anyone walking us down the aisle, whether we was going to walk in together. So definitely there's a lot of options on how the ceremony can go, but it is quite easy to have it there right in front of you and then ask a question. Do you want to walk down together? Do you want someone to walk down the aisle with you? Who is that person going to be? So definitely with the ceremony aspect, pull in the decorations and try and get a picture of how the room's going to look. But the ceremony itself is quite straightforward because you have to legally say it, and the registry office really pushes you down a route of what you can and can't do. Then moving on to the reception. So this is where normally a lot of people will invite more guests to the evening, some more extended family or further friends, work colleagues, etc. So this is definitely where I'd say more of the logistics and thought needs to go into. So who's going to be there? When are they going to arrive? Where are they going to sit to eat? I would definitely say, for the sake of your caterer, again, putting together some form of spreadsheet or a document so that they know ahead of time who is going to be eating what, where people are going to be sitting. I'm sure they would really, really appreciate it. I know that pre-COVID, you didn't have to do that. Some venues may have been turn up and order what you want on the evening, but I know that a lot of venues like to get prepared ahead of time, and especially during COVID, we had to provide exactly who was going to be eating what and the seating plan. So I'm sure they'll appreciate it. It makes things run a lot smoother on the evening. It makes things a lot easier for them. So another thing for the reception is the logistics of the day. So after your ceremony, you'd normally have a drinks reception, which is just basically a quick drink to say cheers, let's take some photos. And then the next thing is the wedding breakfast. So the wedding breakfast is your first meal after getting married. So this is normally a sit down 3-course meal, or it can be a buffet type meal. But this is the meal straight after you've just got married, before the reception guests arrive for the evening. And then you move on to the evening reception, which again, people do tend to do another meal later on in the day. Another thing for the reception is to think, how long is it going to go on for? Are you going to have any entertainment in terms of games, DJ, photo booth, etc. And then also thinking about the logistics of where people are going to be sitting, how long they're going to be staying for, how many kids have you got there. And again, just thinking about how the evening's going to run smoothly. How are people going to be kept entertained? Yes, it is your wedding, and yes, ultimately you are the only person that needs to be happy, but you'll be happy if you're not stressing about your guests. We didn't have a huge wedding, and I even know myself that after speaking to a lot of people and what they would change about the day is to stop stressing about others. And if you pre-plan that entertainment, where they're sitting, how the day's going to run, what they're going to be doing, it will help that day be a lot less stressful and a lot more enjoyable. And then the final thing, step number 5, is your big day. The big day could be months, years, tears, sweat, blood into planning. So this is the day of your life, your one and only day that you're going to be able to get married to the love of your life. So you want to make sure that it runs as smoothly as possible, you can make the best memories as possible, and you just really, really enjoy it. As I previously mentioned, a lot that goes into this big day and making sure you enjoy it and it runs so smoothly is the preparation beforehand. So getting together a schedule of the day, not only for your guests to see so they can see when speeches are going to happen to make sure that they don't miss it and they're in the room, when photographs are going to happen, when the DJ closes, when everyone's got to leave. A lot of people do have signs of the order of the day so that people can see this. But also setting out a schedule with the venue so that you can let them know exactly when people should be arriving, where people need directing to, a point of contact. So if there are any issues or any questions during the day, the venue isn't coming and questioning you over it and worrying you about things. They do have a point of contact that they can go to first that could potentially resolve it without interfering with your own day. Moving on with the point of contact, also delegating people roles. So for example, if your photographer isn't there or is running late, you don't want to be worrying and stressing about that. So if you can delegate a job to someone else and each person just has one little thing that they can just help you out with on the day, that would really help, so that that person knows, oh, the photographer should have been here by now, I'll give him a quick call and see if he's stuck in traffic or if there's any issues. That way you're not stressing out and everyone's only got one person that they need to think about. And then relax and enjoy. As I say, there have probably been months and years and so much stress and planning and time and energy and effort and love that's gone into this big day. So just relax and enjoy it. If things go wrong, I'm sure you'll laugh at it in years to come. So whatever happens, just know that however your day goes, it will be perfect for you, and you're getting married. So just enjoy the moment with your loved one, everyone or your friends and family around you there to celebrate. And as I say, you've put the hard work in, you've done all the preparation, you've done all the planning. Just know that things will pull together, it will all be smooth, and it will be such a gorgeous, glorious day. And then finally, a few things that I just want to add in there. It's not a step, but I just think it's some questions for you to ask yourself throughout, again, just hopefully to help give little tips or persuade you or give you little ideas. So one thing being, from the start, who's paying. So the very first thing you need to do, as I said, is set your budget. We were very lucky and thankful that our parents did help us out with certain aspects of the wedding. So when you're planning and budgeting, then you need to know how much money is going to be there on the day. So if you say have £5,000 for the entire wedding, but then someone comes along and says, oh, we'll pay for the photographer, I'll get your dress, etc., then you can spend that money however you wish then on different aspects, or going a bit above and beyond what you may not have been able to do in the first case. So make sure you know when you're setting your budget, it may not just be your money. Another thing is, are you having suppliers do everything? So there are wedding planners out there. There are people who do decorations. There's people who do flowers. There are so many people out there in the wedding industry that can make your life and this day as perfect as possible with as little stress as possible. But just know that these come with a cost. If you have the budget to go out there and get a wedding planner, then great. If you choose not to and you would rather do it yourself and be hands-on, then great. So just know that the planning and how you're going to do it could just be a matter of saying yes and no to other people's ideas, or you could be hands-on and really going for it and doing it yourself. But again, knowing from the start what route you want to go down can definitely help. Again, choose venues, suppliers, etc. And finally, if you are going to do it yourself, so you want to do the planning of the day, you want to do your own decorations, you want to do your own makeup, you want to pull all the colours and the themes and etc., everything on your own, then just make sure you ask for help. I definitely went full board. I want to do it myself. I want to be hands-on. I love doing DIY. I want to make everything myself and I want to do this. But just asking for help when you need it can certainly help along the way. And then again, definitely looking on Pinterest for ideas, tips and tricks, and also YouTube videos. There's a lot of professionals on YouTube that do videos and put them out there on how to plan a wedding, what questions to ask venues. There's a lot of information out there. There's thousands of millions of people that have got married, so there is so much help and advice on the internet. So do your own research, ask for help, and ask lots of questions along the way. So as I say, this is all in my own experience, but I found those 5 steps are really all I had to do to get me through to my wedding day. Finally, as I say, if you've clicked on this video because you're recently engaged and you are looking forward to that big day, then a massive congratulations, and I am sending all the love and hugs because you're gonna need it during planning this wedding. It is not an easy thing to plan. There's so many things that go into it and there's so many logistics that need sorting out, but you will get there and your wedding day will be perfect. So I really hope you found this video helpful in some way. If you do have any questions, then please leave them down below and I'll be sure to get back to them. And as I say, there's so many other videos and helpful things out there on the internet, so make sure you are checking those out to help your wedding day and your planning go a lot smoother. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, then please go down there and hit that thumbs up button. It really does help, and subscribe to stick around to see more. As I say, please do check out my other videos. I've done DIY decorations, I've done skincare routines and etc. I've done a lot of things that go into planning a wedding, so make sure you check my other videos out. But all that's left to say is congratulations, enjoy the planning process, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Bye.